Okay, hi guys. Sorry, I just went live twice, I think. Sorry. I'm here now. It was gonna film in portrait mode and I wanted landscape, so I think I'm talking to myself right now. I don't think there's anyone here. So let me just pull up my chat. Hello, hello. Hi. Hi, Island Chicks. Sorry to ditch you in my other video. It was in portrait mode and I wanted landscape mode, so I'm here now. Hi everyone, how's it going? I'm just pulling up my chat real quick. Bear with me for just a second. How's everyone doing? What's everyone up to? My dog is crying over my shoulder for no reason. Okay, I think this is it. But now I gotta go back. Doesn't he look really interested? What is it? What do you want to say? Oh, now here comes the other dog. Here we go. Sorry, still pulling up the chat. Just a second. This is the other one. Can you go behind me? She's the one who's always trying to get in my videos. He is just the whiny one in the background usually. Just a second. How's everyone doing? Hi guys. Hi Monty. Hi Lauren. Hi Valerie. Okay. Let's see. Can I make the chat bigger? See if I can do that. Okay, how's it going? So, hello everyone. Sorry I'm late. I had a dentist appointment this morning. Not that you care to hear about that, but it just like ran longer and then I really wanted to eat food and so I did all those things and now here I am. So, yes, so I wanted to do a follow-up video / chat on answering questions about virtual assistant because although I kind of gave the basic steps on how to hire somebody and a little bit about my process, I know that a lot of people still have questions. I think, yeah, because there's a lot of questions that came through. So I'm gonna try my best to answer them. I've seen kind of generally what people are asking because there is a little bit of a common theme. So I'll try my best to answer those, and if I can't, I apologize, but I'm only speaking from my experience with using a virtual assistant, so yeah. Okay, so anyways, let me look at the questions that came through. I made a post, if you are following me on YouTube, I made a post on the community section of like, let me know what questions you guys might have. So I'm just gonna look at those now, and I glanced over them, but I'm really looking at them right now. So the first question I got was, do you edit your photos or does your VA do it? Also, does your VA cross post for you? Thank you for making the video. Okay, so my VA does not edit my photos. I do that if I do that at all. I guess if you wanted to hire somebody who could also edit photos for you, that could be something you would do. If you did watch the video, you probably saw in the process of hiring somebody on Upwork that I was able to select different categories of skills required. So you'd probably want to put in some sort of editing, Photoshop tools, or something like that. So hopefully that answers that question. And then, does my VA cross post for me? Yes, she does. Yeah, so I have her start on eBay listing items for me. She creates a bunch of drafts and then I go in, I put in the prices, and then I actually publish them. And once listings have been published, then she will go back into active listings and she'll cross post those. So yes. Somebody else asked, do I hire more than one person at a time? And does your VA do lots of research or just list info you give? I have hired more than one person at a time before, and I did it because I thought my output would be higher and that I would need 2 people, but that's just not the case right now. I ended up just keeping the one that I have. I haven't needed to keep the other people, and mostly it's because they didn't work out. I guess if they were really awesome, yeah, if they were really awesome, then I would have kept them. But it was somebody who wasn't working out, so I just let him go. Before I answer that other question, I'll answer Valerie's question. Valerie said, are you afraid to give your Poshmark password? They can access everything. I kind of touched on this in the original video, which is there's just not a lot, that the risk is greater than the reward. So say you give them your Poshmark password, which I do give mine my Poshmark password. Okay, so yes, you have a balance in there, let's say of $200. Well, okay, so to get your $200, they're going to need to put their banking information in there. Okay, so they're going to do that. That probably takes a couple days to go through. In that time, you have to assume that you don't notice it, which I think every time you have to go redeem your balance, it shows your banking information. Correct me if I'm wrong. But so you'd have to not notice it. Okay, so it goes through and they take your $200. Well, hopefully you're checking your balance often enough that you would notice that $200 is gone. You would then see the payment history that they took the money. You'd then fire them. You report them to Upwork. They'd probably, I'm assuming, get fired or banned from using Upwork. And then the future lost income that they would make on the Upwork platform being a virtual assistant is so great that it's like, why would $200 really be worth it for somebody? Again, there probably are some very small percentages and circumstances where somebody could do this. It's like flying on an airplane, right? Like, it might crash. It probably won't, but it might crash. So I prefer to just take that risk. So yeah. Jacqueline says, if you change your info, you have to go through a verification process. Okay, so there. Good to know on that. Let's see what else. Okay, going back to my questions that I got in the post that I made. This person also says, does your VA do lots of research or just list the info you give? So I created a training video for my virtual assistant when I hired them. I used that screen recording software that I used to make the video the other day. It's called Screencast-O-Matic. It's free unless you pay for the upgrade, which I did. So I used that and I just showed me how I make a listing and all the tools that I would use that are free on the internet to do so. So what are those tools? I think I just told her to use titlebuilder.com. That is title-builder.com. So I use titlebuilder.com to help me with keywords. I also think I showed her, maybe I showed her checkaflip.com. I don't think I did, but I guess you could look there for sold listings. But she, I think, also just looks at sold and completed listings. So those are the tools that I gave her to use. And really, the info that you need to provide them is going to vary. Yeah, based upon the listing. The more info you give them, the quicker they're going to be, which will lead me into another question that people have been asking me. So hopefully I answered that okay. Another question I got is, how do you use your working time now, that in which you would have previously been writing out listings, etc., to increase productivity for your store, and how quickly do you see an uptake in sales once you begin to invest in a VA to up those listings turnover rate? I imagine there was a period of adjustment where you didn't see that investment return right away in more sales. Thank you. So I am not, before I was doing listings in the evening, now I don't have to. So that's a little bit more time personally that I've got received back to spend with my family, dinner time, spending time with my son. I will be completely transparent and say that I do work a lot in the evening, but it lessened that. Instead of spending a few hours listing, I can now spend that time just publishing the drafts that are already created for me as I lay on the couch and watch TV. And then how quickly did I see an uptake in sales? Oh, well, I guess to also say, how did it increase productivity for your store? I'm just redirecting that time elsewhere, right? It's more time. I can photograph, source, all those different things. So I don't know if that totally answered it. Again, I'm only speaking from my experience. And how quickly did I see an uptake in sales once I began to invest in a VA to up those listing numbers? Oh, definitely. I don't know the time period. I couldn't tell you that, but at least on eBay, the more you list, the more you sell. The more frequently you list, the more frequently you sell. So probably, I mean, the way the eBay algorithm works, probably within a month, I saw an uptake in sales. I don't know if that was the best answer, but that's the best answer I can come up with. Sorry, I'm just checking back in on the chat real quick. Let's see. Mimi said, hi Mimi. How, does your VA do sell similar from another eBay listing, or does she start a completely brand new listing? If so, do you have templates for her? I don't have templates, and I've never done templates, which that's probably not great, but I don't use templates. She might be doing sell similar from someone else's eBay listing. I'm not sure. I know she's definitely looking up other people's sold and completed listings, because I'll log in and I'll see the search history and I'll see like, oh, I'm selling that item. And it's like, yeah, because she looked it up. So she's definitely doing research in that way. So hopefully that answers that. City Girl Scores, I'm glad that you found my video helpful. And I'm sorry that the dogs are distracting you. It looks like 2 dead dogs right there. Okay, let's see. Next question. Oops. Did you notice a substantial increase in sales once you hired the virtual assistant? What happens if you don't have enough pieces for them to work the 30 hours you requested? I think that there's a lot of circumstances that probably would affect me telling you about an increase in my sales. But short answer, yeah, absolutely. I noticed an increase in my sales. Yeah, but I source better than I did a year ago. I mean, these are natural growth things, but yeah, absolutely, because I was listing more, whereas maybe I was only listing like 5 or 10 items a day. I now, if I wanted, could do, anywhere between 20 to 35, 40, maybe if I wanted. Maybe more, depending on how many drafts she builds up and I just kind of let sit there. So yeah. How many hours a week do they list for you? Okay, so this number might knock your socks off. Initially, I had it capped at like 40 hours because I was like, well, I don't want anyone to do more than 40 hours, or that's like a work week, right? But she kept asking me for more time. And this was after, some period of time using her for like 6 months or whatever. And I know that she is working. I know that she is using her time wisely. She's doing all the things that she's said to be doing. So now I actually have her capped at 60. And if I have 60 hours of work a week for her, she does it. She takes that full 60. So yeah, 60 hours, if that is shocking to you. I mean, I work probably 60 hours a week too. So it's a team effort between her and I. I'm looking back at the chat right now. How much does it cost, or an idea of how much? I didn't see the main video. Well, what? You should go watch that main video. I made that one for a reason. The cost can vary. They range anywhere from $3 to $300. And I drill it down a little bit more in that video. So what I look for in the video is somebody between $3 to $10 per hour. Certainly you can look for people who are gonna have a higher rate. Not sure why you'd want to do that, but you can. So let's see. Still looking at the chat here. How did it work when I went on vacation? Did I photograph a lot ahead of time so she could continue through the week? Yes, I tried my best. Based upon how many listings I wanted to be able to pump out while I was still on vacation, I did do a lot of photographing beforehand, and so I sent her a bunch of stuff, but it did run out about halfway through, and so she just mostly stopped working. She did cross-post to Posh for me, but that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much all she did. And I asked her to do about 5. I asked her to cross-post about 5 per day on Poshmark if she can. And if she misses a day, to be honest, I don't really care. eBay is kind of my main focus for her. That's really where I want her spending a lot of time, because that's where I make the most amount of money. So yeah. Next question in the chat. How long does it take when redeeming your balance with a live check instead of having that direct deposit? I don't know. Live with a check? I have no idea. Sorry if somebody else knows the answer. One thread at a time. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see. I'm just looking else in the chat. Melissa asked, what process did you use to train them? Start slow, and what tasks did you give them besides a basic eBay listing, if anything else? Did they price from the beginning? I just used Screencast-O-Matic and I made a training video. I don't really think I started her slow at all. No, I was just like, this is how I do it. I made a whole video, 30 minutes long. I said, this is how I do it. These are the websites I use. These are the sources that I use. And go for it. And then she just started creating listings, and I gave, I have an HR, human resources background, so training and development was something that I was really passionate about. So I know how important it is to give your employees feedback. I mean, you don't want to micromanage them, but you do want to make corrections, especially when somebody's new, because that's when bad habits start to form. So I knew early on that I needed to be giving her feedback when I saw something that I didn't like or I wanted changed or whatever the case was. So I think that I answered that. And she doesn't do the pricing. I do the pricing. She just makes drafts. I publish them. Bobby, I did have somebody else ask me about a tax question, but I don't know. I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't know the tax stuff. I know that April 15th just passed us, but I file an extension every year. So I don't file my taxes till October 15th. So since this was my first year using a virtual assistant, I actually don't have an answer on how the tax portion works. Yeah. So sorry for anybody who was curious about that. It is a contract employee, so excuse me, however that would get treated. Jacqueline, how do I send them the info? So there's any number of ways you can do it. I'm not the most tech savvy. If I was more tech savvy, I'd figure out how to use Dropbox. I've tried twice and I don't know how to do it. So I used Google Photos, and I just make an album. And then in the beginning, I was just sending her a picture of my chicken scratch notebook, and just literally sending her that, like, Old Navy dress, blue, size large, 19 inches pit to pit, 32-inch waist, or whatever, 40-inch length. And that's what I would send her. Just a huge long list, and with the photos. That's it. Melissa, can you talk one-on-one with them, or is it all online communication? I feel like on Upwork, you maybe can web chat or anything. I mean, you can communicate with them however you want. If you want to call them, you could. I'm in a different time zone than mine, so the easiest way for us to communicate is there is like a little chat function on Upwork, so I use that. If there is a new project that I want her to take on, again, I'll make a training video. I'll walk her through the steps, and I'll say, let me know if you have any questions. Other than that, get going. So that's how I communicate with her. Arlie, I don't have a site and or tools to get the info that I'm mentioning. Well, in my video that I did 2 days ago, I did put a link to Screencast-O-Matic and Upwork as well. The other one that I use is title-builder.com. You can also use checkaflip.com. I'll put those in the description of this video after I'm done. So, oh, here's Angie swooping in with the tax info. So Angie has a really great tax video. If you guys don't follow Dizzy Angie, she is in the chat right now. She's got a good high-level tax video that might answer questions that people have. So going back to questions that people asked me, does Upwork track active hours versus non-active hours? Like, what would prevent someone from logging in, being productive for maybe 10 out of the 60 minutes, stay logged in the entire time, even non-productive? So I do answer this in the video. So if you watched it all the way, I did see that the average watch time was 16 minutes. So that's about half of the video. But anyways, it does tell you. So yes, they could stay logged in for 60 hours. However, it will show that they are non-active. Upwork screen captures their computer screen every 10 minutes. It will show you what they're doing. So if they are not in eBay or Poshmark or wherever you need them to be, and they're on Facebook or whatever, it will show their Facebook page that they were on it, okay? So that's one way. It also, in each of those 10-minute increments, it will show you their productivity level. It will show you their keystrokes, and their mouse moving, and then like one other thing. So you can micromanage the hell out of people if you want, but yeah, so you will absolutely know if they are doing or not doing the work. And if they're pissing away the time, then I'm sure you can contact Upwork and be like, 1, I'm firing this person, and then 2, don't bill me for this, because as you can see, they're not doing the work. So, and then you'll know, right? If they reported that they did 60 hours of work and they did 10 listings, well, we got a problem there too. So, let's see. New to you steals, yep, you set the time limit on how much or how little you want them to work. You can let them work for 10 hours, 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours, whatever you want. You can set that time. Let's see. Okay, going back to questions here. When you hire VAs on an hourly basis, can you cap the amount of hours? I just answered that. Say I'm a new seller and only have $10 a week in the budget, and I hire someone at $5 an hour. Can I cap their hours for the week to 20 to stay within that budget? Yes. So they'll only, if you give them only 20 hours a week to start, or 20 hours a week, but they cost $5 an hour, they're only going to do 4 hours of work for you. So somebody might blow through that in the first day. So, you know, I think if you have somebody who's good, you know, you're only going to make more money if you give them more hours, right? If you have somebody who's good and who's doing the work, you're gonna, you know, what is it, $20 that you're gonna pay them? Like, cool, you saved a little bit of money there, but had you given them more hours and you end up paying them $80, you're probably gonna make that money back times 10, because now you've got all these new listings and all this new work to go out. So just kind of things to think about there. Okay, I think those are all the questions that I got from there. Another question, sorry, I'm checking back in on the chat. Okay, Melissa, that's the next question I was going to answer. So approximately how many listings do you get from them for an hour's work? Do you set an expectation? So everybody wants to know this, and I understand, because it's kind of like, I'm going to give a little precursor and then I'm going to give my answer, okay? So the precursor or whatever to this is that I know we all want a definitive answer. Like, for instance, when I was pregnant and I was going to have a baby, I wanted to know how much money you needed to save before you had a baby. Like, how much? What was the dollar amount you needed saved? Well, the truth is, you can't find that number. It's nowhere in a baby book, because it's case by case. Everybody's financials are different. Same with, like, people want to know how much money do you need to be making to go become a full-time reseller. There's no definitive answer to that. I live in Seattle, Washington. The cost of living in my state is different from somebody who lives in, I don't know, Ohio or Minnesota or wherever. So that is the same. I'm using that kind of to cross over and say it's going to be different with every VA, and it's going to be different with what sort of boss or manager you are, how well you train the person. And yeah, so with that said, my person does on average probably 6 listings per hour, maybe 10 on the high end. It just depends on what I'm sending her. So I was looking through some of her work last night, and I'm seeing that she did, I'm kind of looking backwards here, she did one posting at 11:44 p.m., like a listing. She did another one at 10:48. She did another one at 10:24. She did another one at 10:06. Another one at 9:47. Another one at 9:33. So again, you can kind of see it's like, okay, well, 10:48 to 11:44, that's like one every 10 minutes. So that'd be like 6 an hour. But then there's others where she did one, you know, 10:24 and 10:48. So what's the difference there? Probably her needing to do a little bit more research on the item. And I can see that, you know, it wasn't an item that she probably would have found as easily in completed listings or sold listings or whatever. So maybe she just had to do a little bit more work there. So, but sometimes when I send her accessories, that can go a little bit faster. And that's where we'd maybe be reaching the higher of 10 an hour. But again, don't hire somebody and use my scenario as an example. I think what a better scenario is for you to do the work yourself, time yourself, how long does it take you to do X amount of listings in an hour? Because you're going to make the training video for them. Look at him, he's just licking. I'm going to block him. You're going to make that training video, so they're going to mimic your work. And so if that's your expectation, now don't race through it and be like, this is the fastest I can go. Realistically time yourself. Okay, how long does it take me to do it? And then give a little wiggle room. If it takes you 5 minutes to do a listing, or however many, I don't know how long it takes, but give somebody else, because they're not you, another 3 to 4 minutes on top of that. So yeah. I'm checking back in on the chat. Stephanie, I kind of answered this question probably within a month. I don't have the data on it. Based on eBay's algorithm, which takes about 30 days to realize your efforts, it probably took about a month before I saw my sales really kick up. But yeah, my output of listings certainly increased immediately. Let's see. Agreed, Angie. It's really hard to answer financial questions, and I know even myself, those are the questions I wanted answered, when I first started reselling, or before I started reselling. You really want a definitive answer, like, okay, like when? Tell me what that finish line is so I can hit it. But it's always going to be different for everyone else. So that's the tough part. New to you steals. Is she finding the comps to look for the price or the descriptions? I thought she was using your notes. I'm a little confused. No, she's not looking up anything regarding price. Price doesn't matter for her at all. She's just looking, based upon my instructions, how to build the most SEO friendly title and description for my listing. So that's what she's doing. Yeah, those are kind of the questions I immediately had that I think people wanted to know. Are there other questions that you guys have that I haven't answered, that you want answered? I'm trying to think what else I can tell you. I don't know. Use Upwork. Don't overthink it. Just go for it. I've already heard back from a lot of people that they've gone ahead and they've hired someone. Go ahead, do it, see if it's working for you, see if they're, give them a week or two to do the work. And if it's not working, terminate the contract and find somebody else. They can cross-post or list for you on pretty much any platform. eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Tradesy. I'm trying to think where else. I can't think of anywhere else. Let's see. Melissa, I can usually I like to do about 20 a day. So she probably has more than that published for me and ready for me, but I like to do about 20, and if I'm really pushing myself, I'll go ahead and I'll do maybe 25 to 30. Because I still look up comps on the items myself. I look up prices. So, there's still work involved for me. It's not totally over, but she has certainly done, the bulk of the work. Rosalinda. Hopefully I said that right. Rosalinda. This is another question I got. So thank you for reminding me. When did I realize that I needed to hire a VA? I have about 600 listings, but not sure if a VA is something I need. Again, this is going to be one of those answers. I will answer it, but this is one of those ones where it's like, this is so case by case. When do you need to hire a VA? I don't know. Do you feel like you need to? That's the $1 million question, right? Are you feeling burnt out? Do you want some help? Are you looking to scale? You could have 600 listings or you could have 6. Excuse me. I don't know if maybe 6, grow your store a little bit more, but you could have 60, right? If your life is, if you're splitting it with a million other tasks, oh my God, he needs to chill out, then maybe consider getting one. It's really a personal thing. And is the price going to make sense for you, right? Because if your average sold price is $20 and it costs a VA you know, $4 an hour. Now, not that whole $4 is going to come out of that, but right, some percentage of it is. You have to decide if it's going to make sense for you and your store. But I don't see any scenario where a virtual assistant doesn't help you grow and increase your sales. I just don't see how you would not come out on top from it. So hopefully that answers it. You're only on Poshmark, so sharing your closet would be the main thing that you would have your VA do. Then yeah, I would hire somebody for that. I know that a lot of people have success with somebody sharing their closet. You know, it's sharing a closet, in my opinion, is not the best use of time. And I think that's what's tough about Poshmark. And especially, you know, you have 600 listings. That's a lot of listings. So yeah, outsource it. Let's see. I'm thinking this would be great right before coming home from a vacation, having help to get right back into listing. When you went on vacation, did your lister keep working? Yeah, so I kind of answered that. I gave her a bunch of work going into vacation. She did as much as she could, but the work did run out halfway through my vacation. So at that point, she was only cross-posting items to Poshmark for me, so that her hours dipped. Somebody did ask me what happens if the hours dip. Like, I don't know, like some scenario maybe where your VA wouldn't be happy about it or something. I mean, it's just a contract job, and the odds are you are not this only person's job. So they probably have multiple contract jobs that they're working on, working for somebody. So if you don't have work at that moment, somebody else probably does. You know, you're not guaranteeing them hours. You're kind of telling them, this is what I need you for, right? Like, I probably need you for 20, but there absolutely have been weeks with my VA where I've told her, like, hey, I'm slow this week. In fact, I just messaged her last night and I said, hey, I'm sorry. I came back from vacation. I've had a lot of items to ship out because I ran a bunch of auctions while I was on vacation. I haven't had a lot of time to get you new items photographed, but I'm working on it. And I sent her some, and she was like, she's the sweetest. I love my VA so much. She is awesome. And she's like, oh, I'm just so happy you're back. And I hope, I'm glad you had a wonderful trip. She's like the sweetest lady in the world. So, and you can give them bonuses if you want at any point throughout the year. If somebody's doing something great, you can give them a raise if you want. For me personally, at the end of the year, I gave my VA a bonus, and I think I paid, off the top of my head, I think I paid her for 2 weeks worth of work as a Christmas bonus to her. Let's see. Melissa, somebody else mentioned that to me too. So I know, and I've heard that about Poshmark restricting some people's countries from using the platform. I don't know. That's not from my experience. I'll just say that. So, I don't know. I think that's a case-by-case scenario, so. Jacqueline, have you always used a service? Have you ever tried Fiverr? Would you hire independently? I have used Fiverr in the past myself for just other projects in my life, unrelated, before I was a reseller. I think Fiverr is great for certain types of contract work, but for me, I wouldn't feel as comfortable using Fiverr as I do using Upwork, just because with Upwork, there's that whole component that I said where it's like, it'll screen capture their screen every 10 minutes so you know that they're working. It just feels more secure for me. I don't know. It feels more monitored. Whereas Fiverr is just kind of like, I don't know, the wild, wild west. Like, yeah, they could be doing the work for you. Hopefully they're not working on somebody else's work while they're working on your work. So I think Fiverr is a great service for some projects. You need a new logo, you need something else, whatever. But I wouldn't use it for a VA, but I'm sure it works wonderfully for some people, but not me. So, but I also haven't been burned by it. That's just my own 2 cents on the platform. Darren, my VA does not share listings all day long. She works on an opposite time zone from me, so if she is to be sharing my closet, she's like not doing it till like nighttime when people are asleep. So, and that's really not my focus for her. My focus is creating eBay listings. That is my focus. If you don't sell on eBay, then my answer would be my focus for her is creating Poshmark listings, because I do think that there is something. I don't know there to be an algorithm on Poshmark, but I certainly know that every time I list new items, I sell more things. So I don't know. That would be what I would tell somebody to do. I think that that is an activity that probably pays out a lot. Smart and Savvy Gal, just caught you live. What's your opinion about paying them a fee per listing instead of per hour so there's more incentive to get more listed? I mean, you could, but it probably is going to be it's going to work out to be the same number, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. You could. I don't. I pay by the hour, and I feel very confident and comfortable with the work and the pace of the work that she's doing. So, yeah, and I feel like it would be. I feel like it would be a little bit more of a headache to track. But I'm not type A, I'm not super organized in that way, so I just wouldn't want to have to go back and be like, okay, she said she did item number 1057, I wouldn't want to have to be cross-checking that work every week, so I see the work done every night, or every morning when I woke up from the previous night. I know she's getting it done, I'm not concerned, so yeah. Other questions that folks might have? I feel like more questions are going to pop up after I end this chat, so I want to try and be able to answer as many of them for you guys as I can while I'm here. So, yeah. Anything else? I hope the video was helpful for you guys. I know it's been one of my most requested topics, in addition to, can you tell us all the items you sold that week? Which I'm not going to do that video because I sell too many items. It would be too long of a video. But yeah, so I hope the video was helpful for you guys. If you're on the fence about doing it, just do it. Don't just jump in. It's like anything. Just jump in, try it. If you don't like it, stop doing it. But don't not try. Is my thought, And there is no right answer for any of these things, There's no perfect time. It doesn't matter if you have 60 listings or 600 or 6,000, right? If you feel like you need that help in your life, then get it. Let's see. All right, well, thanks, guys. I don't think there's any more questions. So if you're just joining us now, go back and watch the beginning of the video. I appreciate you guys. If you could give me a thumbs up, I would so appreciate that before you leave. I'm like, how many do we have? We have 14, and how many of that? There's 62 of us. Oh, we gotta rectify this number. Hit that button, please, before you leave. I would so appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Laura L. I so appreciate that super chat. Thank you. Thanks, guys.